Hello and welcome back to Andy and Auto's Motorsport behind the scenes. Today I'm going to be doing a fuel filter somewhere down there, up under there. It's a fuel filter. Now I don't run a factory one. No reason why I couldn't, but I run a Cytec metal bodied filter, and because I'm not over 500 horsepower, unfortunately, I don't need to run the metal filters, so I run, that's two of them, paper element ones. Now when I put this in, I did about 3 or 4 meetings and then rolled the car, and car was out of action for 18 months. And when it's not the right word, but when I threw it all back together, I didn't have time to change the filter. So that filter's been sat in there, possibly been sat in fuel for quite some time, and now is the time that it needs to be changed. So I've got my stuff on the floor, what I think I'm going to need. You can see it very well. See the light. The filter is just cable tied up. I found the metal brackets the other day, which is what reminded me I need to do this. And when I've got the filter out the way, I'm going to try and find somewhere to mount those metal brackets and put it in clip-in brackets properly. Again, something I didn't do first time round, which I should have done. But I just cable tied it up. It's not moved, it's not done anything, it's not, you know, shifted, fallen out, but it's not nice. So yeah, I'll show you the filter. Move that out of the way. Lay on the floor. That's the filter. And as you can see, when I installed it, I didn't even cut the tabs off. Again, a nice easy job. Unfortunately, the filter and the swirl pot is filled with fuel. So if I put that there. There we go, that's the filter off. Got the drain tray. Now I'm doubtful for this pipe to actually come off. And it's going to. Wow. That might be there for a little while draining. He says as it runs out. Now I'm expecting this to splash. That's kind of disgusting. Get a better shot when we take it out. But this filter does go in one way. This part here, the solid end sits on there, doesn't go that way in, because otherwise you block the fuel off and you wonder why it doesn't go. So the solid end goes on this cap. So, grab a new filter, solid end on the cap, and that's done up tight. Now, push this pipe back on. There we go, nice and easy. Get the Jubilee clip up in place. Do a Jubilee clip up. And I could just cable tie it back up, but I don't really want to. I mean, it will fit, will go back up cable tied as it was, but I'd rather put the metal clips there. So I'm going to go get the metal clips and try and work out a way of fitting them. Well, I've got the metal clips, I've got one of them on, and I can realise, or remember now, why I didn't fit them. All they are is one of these, and they literally just, in that little groove, snap on, and they hold the filter very nicely. Unfortunately, to mount them up there, I then couldn't get the filter out. And there's no way of mounting it upwards like that. Not securely anyway. So I'm going to have a think about this. Obviously I don't want to mount it down where it can get knocked off for any reason, but we'll see. I've got an idea. So I can't work out a way of fitting that up nicely, and thinking about it, this is the fuel tank. There is a plan for another fuel tank to go in here at a later stage. So when this tank comes out, I can fix this up securely, and the swell pot that's inside the car, actually right, well, here, just out of shot. This is where the swell pot is, with my little rubber mat. This is going to go up here, and it's going to remove that god awful box from inside. So I'm going to cable tie the filter back where it was. Okay. I'm hoping to cable tie the filter back where it was. There we go, there's one. Only this time I'm going to cut the ends of it off. Nice and easy. Now, most people to that message. Most people that have ever worked on these cars know that the original filter setup is in that position, and from the factory they have like a rubber, it's like a pop fitment for the filter, and what happens is you'll change it the first time round from brand new and it's perfectly fine, and the second time you come to it the rubber's perished and the filter's hanging down, and they just do exactly what I did and cable tie it back up. Yep, that's Citroen the factory or the dealerships. They just cable tie them back up where that one is, and I'm sure 99.9% of the ones you go and look at crawl underneath the what would be passenger side if you're in the UK, just in front of the rear wheel, and you'll see the fuel filter cable tied up. There's not much I can do about that until I change the tank and I've got somewhere to fit them brackets. Now the brackets are going to go with the filter, and before I forget I'm going to put them in my driver box. Now that's just a box of spares that I take with me. Brand new WD-40, Loctite, some brake hoses, some pipe fitting, spare coil. If you've ever come across a Saxo, you'll know that this plastic thing on the back of the block, in there's another fuel pump. Got some other bits, grinding disc, flat disc, some rear brake pads, duct tape. I need to get some more, tensioner, some nuts and bolts, another oil cooler plate fitment, a spare release bearing, Fiat belt, another tow hook. Hey look, an Anderson plug. I've got some discs down there, front and rear. Driver box, some spares. So now what we're going to do is this dirty old grimy grubby filter. Turn the light on. There you go, now you're all blinded. this horrible thing, we're going to cut open. So I'm going to set the camera up and we're going to cut it open. Right, let's see if we can get this open. Well, it's fairly solid. Yep, that's some chunks. Filter did as it should. Let's see if I can get the top off. That's got quite some surface area. What's slightly worrying, I don't know how well it's going to come out on the camera, but right there there's some silver shinies. Now that normally means that's quite some size for a little filter. Now that normally means that something was breaking up. What I'm going to have to do is talk to my mates. I'm trying to think when it was, that was all. When I installed this, I can't remember if I installed it before the in-tank pump failed or after, and I'm hoping it was before, but I've got a feeling, a nasty feeling, it was the same time we put the new pump in, because I had some fueling issues, and what it was the in-tank pump couldn't keep up filling the swirl pot up. Now that's not an issue normally, because I've got a 2 litre swirl pot, and on a normal 15 lap race I'll do about 11 litres of fuel. So that swirl pot should last about a lap and a bit. Well, that's on full fuel delivery. So as soon as you come off the throttle, the in-tank pump is still filling up the swirl pot, and the high pressure pump to the front isn't supplying anything to the engine because it's not using it. You're off throttle, so it's just recirculating everything in there, and yeah. Anyway, it couldn't fuel enough, and when you were on throttle, it would just run the swirl pot out, and couldn't fill up, nowhere near quick enough. So I ended up putting a 255 Walbro in the tank, which is more than enough to supply the engine with, let alone having the Bosch 044 Cosy pump that supplies the front. I don't actually think they were Cosy fit from factory. Anyway, it's a 700 horsepower pump supplying a 1.6 naturally aspirated. That's more than enough. And I've got a feeling I fitted this at the same time I fitted the 255 in tank, because I just went through everything and put all new stuff in and cleaned everything out. So that's worrying that there's metal in there. And it could be what was left in the tank from the old pump failing. But we put a new one in, and if I have any issues, we know where to look first. So yeah, if you like the video, please leave a like. If you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon. Ciao.